So if one indictment watch wasn't enough for all of you, we are also waiting for indictment news from the state of Georgia, where there could be potential criminal charges on the state level against the ex-president for his efforts to overturn the election as early as next month. Now, if you don't remember all of the details of this investigation, I'm going to remind you, because in some part you know them. This infamous 1-hour phone call Trump had with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger also serves as a friendly reminder of what this is all about.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state, and flipping the state is a great testament to our country.
And a lot of work has happened under Fani Willis since that call. Fani Willis opened the investigation back in February of 2021, and the grand jury has been hearing evidence for the past 7 months. Back in May, Willis instructed her staff to work remotely for a good chunk of the first 3 weeks of August. Remember, August is coming up next week. She even asked judges in Atlanta to not schedule trials during that time period. Last week, The Guardian reported that the district attorney has developed evidence to bring racketeering charges in the case, a charge we all usually associate with the mob. And today, the paper reports that Willis is weighing charges including, quote, solicitation to commit election fraud and conspiracy to commit election fraud, and, quote, solicitation of a public officer to fail to perform duties and solicitation to destroy, deface, or remove ballots, according to two people briefed on the matter. I should note NBC News has not confirmed either of those Guardian reports. Tanya Miller served as a Fulton County prosecutor and is now a Democratic state representative in Georgia, and she joins me now. Thank you so much for taking the time this evening. I have so many questions for you. I just wanted to start, first of all, The Guardian is reporting that DA Willis is considering charges that include, quote, solicitation to commit election fraud, conspiracy to commit election fraud, solicitation of a public officer to fail to perform duties, and solicitation to destroy, deface, or remove ballots. Can you explain to us non-lawyers what that means and how they might apply to Trump himself?
Yeah, so the first thing I think your listeners need to know about kind of how prosecutors approach charging decisions, particularly in Fulton County. I was a prosecutor in Fulton County with Madam DA Fani Willis for many years. And of course, we are taught and trained to charge the highest charge that we believe the evidence will support. All of these charges essentially are centered around this idea that the former president sought to interfere with our election by getting folks who were stakeholders in our election process to tip the scale in his favor. So when you solicit someone to commit a crime, you try to get them to commit the crime for you. If you conspire with someone to commit a crime, it means that you have agreed, whether it's an explicit agreement or a tacit agreement, that you all are going to commit a crime together. In Georgia, you can do any of those things, particularly under the RICO statute, solicit someone to commit crimes or conspire with someone to commit crimes. And it can land you, unfortunately, before a petit jury in Fulton County if you do any of that.
So one of the reports that was out last week was that he could also be charged with racketeering, which, again, sounds a little bit like something the mob does. But I had this question about whether all of those charges listed in the reporting today could be under racketeering, or was your expectation that it would be separate charges?
Well, of course, most prosecutors will do both, right? So they will charge predicate acts that are all essentially a predicate act is a crime in and of itself. So racketeering just means that you commit multiple crimes in furtherance of some scheme or enterprise. An enterprise can be just a collection of folks who are working together for a purpose, legitimate or illegitimate. And if you commit crimes in connection with that purpose, legitimate or illegitimate, it can be RICO. So all of these crimes can be charged individually by themselves. All of them can also be predicates under the RICO Act. So prosecutors kind of can get you both ways.
I want to come to your law school class. It seems like from this reporting and from what we know about the Georgia case, there's a lot of overlap with what Jack Smith is looking into. Is it safe to say, or should we assume that Fani Willis is sharing information with Jack Smith's team back and forth?
Well, I think that's really almost on a case by case basis. So you'd be surprised to know that some prosecutors' offices work very well together. They share information pretty freely, and some prosecutors' offices don't. So I guess it would really depend on the nature of the relationship between those two offices, the trust that they have with each other, that the other office will protect the integrity of the investigation, each other's respective investigation, that there aren't leaks that might compromise the investigation. But I would say to you that in the spirit of prosecuting a person who is suspected of committing crimes across various states, it is not uncommon to see prosecutors in all of those jurisdictions work together to help each other to accomplish a similar goal, and that is to hold accountable someone that they believe they have sufficient evidence to show is committing crimes across the state.
So they could be sharing it. There's no law against it. We don't know. Maybe we'll learn at some point. Tanya Miller, thank you so much for your time explaining all of the legal components to me and all of our viewers tonight.